And he called the 12 together, and they gave them power and authority over all demons and to cure diseases. And he sent them forth to preach the kingdom of God, to heal the sick. And he said unto them, Take nothing for your journey, neither staff, nor wallet, nor bread, nor money, neither have two coats. And into whosoever's house ye enter, there abide, and thence depart. And as many as receive you not, when you depart from that city, shake off the dust from your feet, for a testimony against them. And they departed and went throughout the village, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. Now Herod the treacher heard of all that was done, and he was much perplexed, because that it was said by some that John was risen from the dead, and by some that Eli had appeared, and by others that one of the old prophet was risen again. And Herod saying, John I beheaded, but who is this, about whom I hear such things? And he sought to see him. And the apostles, when they were returned, declared unto him what things they had done. And he took them and withdrew apart to a city called Bethsaida. But the multitudes perceiving it followed him, and he welcomed them, and spake to them of the kingdom of God. And them that had need of healing he cured. And the day began to wear away, and the 12 came and said unto him, Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the villages and country round about, and lodge and get provision, for we are here in a desert place. But he said unto them, Give ye them to eat. And they said, We have no more than 5 loaves and 2 fishes, except we should go and buy food for all this people. For they were about 5,000 men. And he said unto his disciples, Make them sit down in companies, about 50 each. And they did so, and made them all sit down. And he took the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed them, and brake, and gave the disciples, set before the multitudes. And they ate, and were all filled. And they were taken up that remained over to them of broken pieces, 12 baskets. And it came to pass, as he was praying apart, the disciples were with him, and he asked them, saying, Who do the multitudes say that I am? And they answered and said, John the Baptist. But others say Eli, and others that one of the prophets is risen again. And he said unto them, But who say you that I am? And Peter answering said, The Christ of God. But he charged them and commanded them to tell this to no man, saying, The Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed on the 3rd day, be raised up. And he said unto all, If any man would come after me, let him deny himself, and take up the cross daily, and follow me. And whosoever would save his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. For what is a man of profit, if he gain the whole world, and lose or forfeit it his own self? For whosoever shall be ashamed of me on my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in his own glory, the glory of the Father, and of the holy angels. But I tell you of the truth, there are some of them that stand here, who shall in no wise taste of death, till they seek the kingdom of God. And it came to pass about 8 days after the saying, that he took with him Peter and John and James, and went up into the mountain to pray. And as he was praying, the fashions of his countenance was altered, and his raiment became white and dazzling. And behold, there talked with him 2 men, who were Moses and Eli, who appeared in the glory, and spake of his decease which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. Now Peter and they that were with him were heavily with sleep, but when they were fully awake, they saw his glory, and the two men stood with him. And it came to pass, as they were parting from him, Peter said unto Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Eli, not knowing what he said. And while he said these things, it came a cloud and overshadowed them, and they feared as they entered into the cloud. And a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my son, my chosen. Hear ye him. And when the voice came, Jesus found alone, and they held their peace, and told no man in those days any of these things which they have seen. And it came to pass on the next day, when they were come down from the mountain, great multitudes met him. And behold, a man from the multitudes cried, saying, Teacher, I beseech thee to look upon my son, for he is my only child. And behold, a spirit taketh him, and he suddenly cried out, and it teareth him that he foameth, and it hardly departed from him, bruising him sorely. And I besought the disciples to cast it out, that they could not. And Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall it be with you, and bear with you? Bring hither thy son. And he was yet coming. The demon dashed him down and tear him grievously. But Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit and healed the boy, and gave him back to his father. And they were all astonished of the majesty of the God. But while all were marveling at all things which he did, he said unto his disciples, Let these words sink into your ears, for the Son of Man shall be delivered up into the hands of man. But they understood not his saying, and it was concealed from them, and they should not perceive it. And they were afraid to ask him about this saying. And there arose a reasoning among them, which of them was the greatest. But when Jesus saw the reasoning of their hearts, he took a little child and set him by his side. And he said unto them, Whosoever receiveth this little child in my name, receiveth me. And whosoever shall receive me, receiveth him that sent me. For he that is least among you, all the same is as great. And John answered and said, Master, we saw one casting out demons in thy name, and we forbid him, because he followeth not with us. But Jesus said unto him, Forbid him not, for he that is not against you is for you. And it came to pass, when the days were all well nigh come, that he should be received up, he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem, and sent messengers before his face, and they went and entered into the village of the Samaritans, to make ready for him. And they did receive him, because his face was as though he were going to Jerusalem. And when his disciples James and John saw this, they said, Lord, wilt thou we bid fire to come down from heaven and consume them? But he turned and rebuked them, and they went to another village. And as they went out of the way, a certain man said unto them, I will follow thee wheresoever thou goest. And Jesus said unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of heaven have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. And he said unto another, Follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But he said unto him, Leave the dead to bury their own dead. But go thou and publish abroad the kingdom of God. And another also said, I will follow thee, Lord, but first suffer me to bid farewell to them that are at my house. But Jesus said unto him, No man having put his hands to plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God. This was the book of Luke, chapter 9.